What's good, YouTube? Here to bring you my Inzektor deck and to answer the question of the title of this video, which is no, it's not good. I wouldn't even consider this archetype rogue because it just loses to so much. First, I just want to go over the new card that was released, the Zektrite Cow, which I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Frankly, I don't care because I thought this card was better at first glance. So, going over the first effect, which is it's always treated as an Inzektor card, which is nice. But if it wasn't, this would make the card extreme garbage. But it does help that it starts off a centipede, so it can help with the extension of the combos or starters. So that's nice off the bat. Starting off with the first requirement of the card, which is sending one other Inzektor card from your hand or face up on the field to the graveyard. This effect started off good, especially with the sending a face up Inzektor card on the field. Part because you can use this to trigger your Dragonfly, Centipede, or even your Mantis and Weevil if they're already equipped to an Inzektor card. But you realize this effect is just too slow, especially if you're going second, because you need to use Dragonfly's or Centipede's effect to equip the monster, and your opponent will most likely have an interruption by that point. And moving on to the two effects, the choose one Inzektor monster from your deck and either special summon it or equip it to one Inzektor monster you control. The first one, at first I thought this was great because it's exactly what the archetype needed, but quickly found out that it's just an easy Ash target, simply because these two effects are paired with each other. So if you wanted to just equip another Inzektor card to a monster, it will be stopped by Ash because it's paired with the special summon of an Inzektor. I really wish he had separated these two effects to their own respective bullet point so it can avoid the Ash negate, because sometimes you just want to equip an Inzektor card to your monster. But yeah, that it just gets ashed because of the first part of the effect, which is it just makes this card so much worse than it needs to be. And then when we move on to the second effect, we currently this effect is bad, which is the equip one Inzektor equip spell from your deck to one Inzektor monster you control. Yeah, this is just bad because there's only one mediocre equip spell, which is the Inzektor Sword, Zect Caliber. And all the other equipped spells are just bad, so there's no good target for this effect. Once we get a good equipped spell that needs to be able to send itself from the field to the graveyard, this will considerably get better, but currently at this point, this second effect for equipping one equipped spell, it's just useless. I've never, from like my multiple games, I've never activated for this part of the effect. And finally, something major to note that really put me off for this card and deck was the fact that when your Inzektor monsters are negated via Imperm, Veiler, or Skill Drain, when you use the first effect to just simply equip a card to them, they will just get destroyed and you won't be able to trigger their effects off of it. So this deck just loses to Skill Drain, which is so disappointing because one of the things I thought this deck can do well against were Floodgates, since you just needed one monster and just Hornet to pop all the Floodgates. But that's just not the case, and I quickly found out in the game when I lost to a skill drain that this deck can't play on the skill drain at all, and therefore this deck just loses to so much. Now going over the deck list, I have two builds of this deck and we'll show them off just to give you ideas of how to build them, but I'm telling you right now, this Inzektor archetype is just not good right now. They clearly still need better support, better cards. But yeah, I'm going to be showing you my going first because I try to attempt something like this. This going first build is just simply just a combo off because something this deck can do is swarm when there's no interruptions, which is highly unlikely, especially when you get to like higher ranks or higher up in the ladder, because every meta deck at this point definitely has interruptions, and this deck literally loses to any interruption. I'm literally talking about like the oldest of hand traps like Veiler, DD Crow, was probably not Kariba, that's like the only exception, but everything, this deck, Book of Moon stops this deck as well. Just like this deck cannot be interrupted. Maybe it can go through one interruption if you have Zektrite and like the rest of your hand is like all combo pieces, but no, this deck just loses to so much. Like you're losing going second if you're trying to like make a build like this. So it's just like the standard list of having 3 Dragonflies, 3 Centipedes, the 3 Hornets, the 3 Ladybugs. Obviously, we have the full set of hand traps. 3 Zektrite because this deck desperately needs it. 2 Imperms just to stop interruptions in case you go second. What's kind of nice with this deck is you can use Forbidden Droplet. it can kind of work when you're going first, and like let's say you have an Inzektor monster like Dragonfly and Centipede, but like you can't really combo off or extend, so you could just Dragonfly, uh, equip like Hornet or whatever. You can equip any other Inzektor card, and you can set Droplet, and then on your opponent's turn, you can send your equipped spell that's equipped to like your Dragonfly or Centipede to the graveyard. You'll not only negate your opponent's monster effect, but you also still get the trigger, which is really nice. So definitely, I think Droplet kind of is better, a little better in this archetype than others. So that's one thing. And to just help with the combos and the extensions of the going first build, I do run two B Trooper Scale Bombers simply because it can special summon itself when you normal summon any other insect monster. And it does have a decent effect where you can tribute one insect monster, destroy it. That's only when your opponent monster that your opponent controls activates effect. Also, it's a level 3, so it can help go into like the Cicada King. So that's not a pretty good card for this deck. Um, then I got the two Infernoble Knight Oliver and the two Infernoble Arms Durandal. So these cards are actually pretty good. Or, excuse me, let me rephrase that. This card, which is the equip spell, is exactly what the Inzektor archetype needs of some kind, because this card is able to equip to a monster, destroy itself, send it to the grave to search another monster, which is the Infernoble Knight Oliver, and that can easily trigger the Dragonfly and Centipede. And it's like not a monster effect, so it can't get interrupted by like the mass monster interruption, like negate interruptions that the meta currently is in. So if there was something that like the Inzektor archetype had with this type of effect, it would make the deck considerably better. Makes the second part of this effect of the Zentrite way better, but unfortunately not. But yeah, we just simply have to run this because of this as well. Like Oliver is just like kind of a brick, really. The only thing that it has going for it really is it's nice that you can I'm trying to find the exact effect so I don't mess up the language. You can send one Fire Warrior monster, not important, not relevant, or one equipped spell from your hand or face up on the field to the graveyard, special summon this card as a level 1 monster. This is pretty good, pretty decent, I should say actually, because if like let's say your Dragonfly, like you can't like have anything to really pop off with. You can just like have your Dragonfly or Centipede equipped to like whatever card, send those to those graveyard because of Oliver, and you can trigger their effects with that. So that's pretty helpful on that. But it's also a warrior. It doesn't really fit. Like you're gonna find out, it doesn't really fit within the archetype. That's part of the reason. Like running him, I have to run like something like Shinobi Insect because it's the only like Link 2 insect card that doesn't require insect as materials, because the other two good insect link monsters require insect as materials. So that's the reason. Also, Masquerena is also another card I use for Oliver. But yeah, and then Allure of Darkness I have for just trying to get to the better parts of your combo piece, because you can easily banish just like one monster of anything that's dark, obviously, to make sure you have like a better hand. And then that's it. Like usually with this combo piece, you're going into B Trooper Armorhorn, great card because this is what helps you extend. Because you have the Dragonfly go into Centipede, off of Centipede, you can get another Dragonfly. Then you can go into Armorhorn. Armorhorn allows you to normal summon an additional insect monster, and then you go Dragonfly. And that's is one of the reasons why I don't like the going first build, because it is one of those like very heavy combo heavy decks that just takes really long, and I'm not a fan of those only because I feel like it takes up so much of your time, your opponent's time, and on top of that, like this is just so easily disrupted. Like an Ash, Maxi, which is part of the reason why I run Droll and Lockbird, because in case they have the Maxi and everything. But yeah, like I personally had did not have great success with this deck. So yeah, this is it for my going first build. Now on to my going second build. So this is my going second build, and I think I like this a little better, mainly because I feel like you can play it more like how Inzektors was back in the day, because this is one of a nostalgic deck for me, where back in 2012 I actually used to play Yu-Gi-Oh competitively on back on on Dueling Network, I believe it was called. And yeah, we have the Dark Ruler no more. If I was willing to spend more, or if I had like unlimited UR points and all that stuff, I definitely would have crafted more of this and probably another Forbidden Droplet, because that I feel like that's the best way this deck can win, is if you just have your opponent set up, break, and then negate their whole board via Droplet or Dark Ruler. You can just easily break the rest of the board, because Hornet is just such a great, like, Dragonfly and Hornet is still like the best combo this deck can produce. It just helps, like, you while you break your opponent's board, you can also build your own. And another reason why I like the going second build is because going first, when you combo off, you can't really use Hornet as like a combo piece, because you need to destroy something on the field. And if you're going first, your opponent has nothing on the field, so you have to break your own board, which you're just going net neutral with that stuff, and you just have to rely on Ladybug. But going second, when you're negating your opponent's monsters or like withering them down, you can use Hornet to break their board and then build your own board, and it's just way better. Um, that's really much the difference, is the Dark Ruler no more. I dropped the Oliver and the Equip spell for Noble Knights, and that's pretty much different. I added DD Crow because on ladder it's mostly just been the 60 card piles and Sprite, so DD Crow does a little better with that and helps with the Lure of Darkness target. That's pretty much it. Yeah, I like the going second build a lot better. And I'm gonna show you two replays, the only two replays that had like decent, because again, with this deck just taking so long, like, you need to take so much time to build up your board that by the time it's built up, your opponent's just like, all right, I know I lost, I'm quitting. So it was kind of difficult to find replays for this deck. So yeah, on to the replays. Okay, so looking at the first replay, we're just going to confirm the opponent's deck to see what we're going against, and it's going to be Emancipators. And now moving on to the actual game. Okay, so for this replay, ironically, I use my going first build, but I go second in this one, but I still end up winning the game. Since them being at Emancipators, they're going to take a while to combo off. But I can't really talk too much because Inzektors have pretty much turned into that type of deck as well, with the whole bunch of swarming that they can do. So didn't hit anything off the analyzer. They're gonna go for the punk stuff. They have the Ishizu cards to get themselves to mill, which is not bad, but the Ishizu deck is just like another engine that just hard counters Inzektors as well, because we have a lot of our cards going to the grave, and if they just shuffle like Hornet or Ladybug from our graveyard to the deck, we just lose. Didn't mill anything good. As a matter of fact, they probably don't know what we were on. Didn't mill anything, so they're just going to keep on going. Extending more with the punk stuff. They don't hit anything off the Chaos Ruler. They get to mill 5 more, and then we get to reveal the Inzektors. We got Ladybug in the grave, which isn't bad. Allows us to probably do something, because another problem is this hand isn't actually too good. If we were going first, if they had something to interrupt it, we would just have to rely on the Zektrite to get us into a starter like Dragonfly. Right, so they go into Apollosa, Block Dragon, and then they end off with IP Masquerena. Apologies, they end up shuffling more of their Emancipator cards, probably to get better searches off of their Block Dragon, because they end off with Block Dragon. So that's their board. Hopefully we have something to really negate, because the problem is with this deck, that's why I like the going second build a little more, because typically you're gonna versus people who with boards that just have a lot of negations, and if we can like we can't play through negations through the archetype itself. The deck is just so susceptible to like interruptions. So here's like hoping with the Allure of Darkness we're able to draw into something. Because even in the going second build, I still run like Forbidden Droplet or something. And thankfully we see it. That's probably the whole reason I won this game. Using Forbidden Droplet to negate the Apollosa and the IP Masquerena. And I can get rid of the rest of Block Dragon and such using my extra deck monsters because I have Unicorn in here. So yeah, we just go with the typical standard combo. Inzektor into Centipede, getting another Dragonfly. Armor Horn, normal summoning the Dragonfly. So this is what's kind of nice about the deck, because especially going second, because I was able to break part of his board using Hornet while building my own board, and the advantage generation is just a lot better. Using the Inzektor Link. I wish this card was a little better. I don't like that you have to discard a card, but because it's generic and like Beat Troopers and like other bug decks can break it, it's just so annoying. But yeah, I use the Hornet to try to use the Block Dragon because I don't want to break my own board, and that's why it's still helpful. That's why I go into the Ladybug, Swarming More, get the Unicorn to shuffle that, and then yeah, the opponent sees that he just loses right there because I can go into access code. So now moving on to the second replay, this is my opponent's deck. It's Sprite mixed in with the Frog Engine and this, I forgot what they're called. They are the Sacred Beast. So we're going to go into the replay now. So for my second replay, I'm having my going first build again. Went second. Thankfully, he just passed, because I feel like that's the only way to win with this deck when they just don't have interruption like that. But you can kind of see how the Infernoble cards are able to get the deck rolling. We got the Search the Oliver, trigger the Centipede, get the Hornet, use the Hornet to pop the back row. Fortunately, it was something like that, which, again, another disruption that just kind of kills the momentum of the deck. Then he had the Gamma. Had to use the Zektrite to extend further, get for Dragonfly. And this is where Oliver comes in use, because I'm able to just activate multiple effects using Dragonfly with Oliver. Mantis was able to special summon the Centipede, getting all of that. So easily the Hornet's helping us break through the board. And that's why this deck can be decent when there's not that much interruption, or your hand is just has that much extension. But of course he has the second Gamma. And at this point, 3 interruption, like, we're definitely not going to be able to do anything more than this. Yeah, so we're only able to end off with the Seraphim, the Link 3 insect monster. Able to set the Forbidden Droplet. Going to Maxi. Seeing that it's a Sprite deck. Just trying to get rid of their board, because I feel like once we get past our turn, we're able to set up a lot better. But they're going to go for the Zeus line. And I could have used the Forbidden Droplet to have this be destroyed, but I just wanted to draw more cards just to be safe, because again, this deck is just it needs all the help it can get. Right, so it ends on that Forbidden Droplet. I'm able to have that negated, and we're able to extend off here, but he's just going to see that he's not able to do anything because we were able to special summon an Inzektor monster. Alright, so for the third replay, we're going to be looking at our matchup against the Mathmech deck. So for this match, we're actually using our going second build, but for some reason they had us going first, which was quite annoying. Thankfully, we didn't draw any of our going second cards yet, but I run Upstart Goblin in our going second build to help us get into the board breakers. But like I mentioned before, thankfully we didn't run anything that had like going second cards that stop us from not comboing. Because yeah, we're able to normal summon Dragonfly. We have 2 cards to help us combo off. And that's kind of the problem with this deck too. It's just like, at best, it's a 2-card combo. At worst, it's a 3-card combo. Uh, well, not at worst. I should say when you have the 3 cards, it can be a 3 card combo, but it's still like it's not like game ending like other decks where if you have the 3 card pieces, you pretty much like win the game. But yeah, going into Beat Trooper, Scale Bomber, equipping Mantis using its effect, using Dragonfly to equip Hornet, we're able to pop that off. You're able to trigger both effects of Dragonfly because it's an old card. It's not once per turn, not once per chain. Kind of broken in that sense, but it's just the deck is just so bad that it kind of needs it at this point. So yeah, this is like a perfect example of like how crazy this deck can kind of pop off. I say that, but it's still not crazy because I believe we only end up with Appaloosa. But it's nice because you still can build your board and you're able to draw cards so you can draw into something for more disruption. That's why I was thinking the going first build was better, but yeah, this is like a once in like every 50 duels type of combo because trust me, my past games I was not getting hands like this. On top of that, it helps that he has no interruptions. And another problem with this deck is just like you can't get into Appaloosa before 5 summons, so again you lose to Nibiru. Right, so just comboing off some more, building up my hand, going for the Cicada King, and then going for the Link 3 Insect Monster just to have follow-up. To be double sure, because I already see we have the Max C, we have the Forbidden Droplet, we have 4 negates, like there's no way they're going to get through this. Negate it using Appaloosa. Had Trippa Tactics talent. Thankfully, we still have the Forbidden Droplet. So, we're still going to be drawing off a Maxi as well. So, like, our advantage is just going to severely outweigh theirs. And they're going to notice real quick that because of that, they're not going to win. Drawn to the Nibiru. That completely sealed off the game because their last hope was just going into, what's his name? Access Code. Right, so they do that. Go into access code. Use that for protection, but then they had the silent mining and they had the multiplication. And definitely if I did not have that in the bureau, I was actually going to lose because this is going to boost it up, the access code, to 1,000 or 10,600, which is actually 8,100 in damage. So I was going to die if I did not have that in the bureau. But once he sees it in the bureau, he just quits. So yeah, those are the replays, and I hope to see you on the next one.